The story begins with a man named Teddy, a well-known boxing champion from Poland. But when Germany invaded Poland, he was captured and sent to a concentration camp. There, Teddy and the other prisoners were forced to work like animals, from sunrise to sunset. At night, hundreds of them were crammed into a single barracks to sleep, and the only food they received was watery soup. Because of that, many prisoners quickly became sick and died. Every day inside the camp feels like another fight just to survive. Among the prisoners is a 15-year-old boy named Janek, who is constantly bullied by the others. One day, an elderly prisoner secretly plans an escape with a few others, but a guard overhears the conversation. Without hesitation, the guard smashes a metal rod into the old man's head, killing him on the spot. Hope disappears the moment the guards discover even the smallest mistake. The next day, Teddy is assigned to clean a German general's house. He takes advantage of the opportunity and steals a few potatoes. Later, he gives one of them to Yannick, but Yannick quietly hands it to an elderly prisoner instead. Even in a place built on cruelty, kindness somehow refuses to disappear. After seeing Yannick's kindness, Teddy gives him a bowl of food. But suddenly, German soldiers arrive after discovering that food has been stolen. They capture Teddy, Yannick, and the elderly prisoner, then drag them to the punishment yard, where prisoners who break the rules are brutally tortured. The punishment yard is where mercy simply does not exist anymore. The soldiers order the old man to balance a potato on his head. Instead of aiming at the potato, one of them shoots the old man in the head, killing him instantly. Then Teddy is ordered to do the same. Instead of obeying, he quietly picks up the potato and starts eating it. Impressed by Teddy's courage, the soldier spares his life, but Janek is seized and sentenced to a brutal punishment, all while Teddy is forced to watch. Sometimes surviving means carrying pain you can never fight against. That night, Teddy is overwhelmed with guilt and cannot sleep. Meanwhile, the soldiers lock several prisoners and children inside a gas chamber. Moments later, they release deadly gas, and every innocent person trapped inside is suffocated to death. The silence afterward is even more terrifying than the horror itself. As the days pass, the abuse inside the camp only grows worse. The prisoners are sent to forced labor before sunrise and are given even less food than before. One day, a German soldier throws a piece of bread onto the ground, and several starving prisoners immediately as they scream before the fighting parts, the signs pushed again, are beginning to flay. Hunger becomes another weapon, used to break every prisoner's spirit. He calls two prisoners forward and orders them to slap each other. Whoever wins will receive a loaf of bread. After the first round, Teddy is chosen to compete. Since he was once a boxing champion, he knocks his opponent down within moments. Years of training suddenly become the only thing keeping Teddy alive. Soon, a German officer arrives. He is also a boxer and challenges Teddy to a fight. Teddy accepts. The match begins, and the officer launches relentless attacks right from the start. But Teddy's quick footwork allows him to dodge every punch. Then, the moment an opening appears, Teddy lands one powerful punch that badly injures the officer. For one unforgettable moment, the champion inside Teddy returns once again. Teddy's speed and boxing skills impress the officer, who rewards him with a loaf of bread. But instead of keeping it for himself, Teddy immediately shares it with the other prisoners. That's when he notices Janek struggling to breathe. Weeks of starvation and exhaustion have left him dangerously weak, and before long, that weakness turns into pneumonia. Worried about Janek, Teddy asks the German officer for some food and medicine. Fortunately, the officer agrees, but only if Teddy does something in return. One favor comes with a price no prisoner can ever ignore. The officer takes Teddy to meet a senior officer and shows off his boxing talent. The officers want Teddy to fight the camp's other boxers to provide entertainment. At first, the senior officer doubts that someone as thin as Teddy could last in the ring, but after hearing the recommendation, he finally agrees to give Teddy a chance. Every opportunity inside the camp depends on proving your worth first. Soon, the camp hosts its first official boxing match, where Teddy steps into the ring against another fighter. The next fight could decide far more than a simple victory. In the first round, the other fighter keeps Teddy under constant pressure. But in the second round, Teddy completely takes control and overwhelms him. His performance impresses all of the German officers, and Rudy, the German general's son, quickly becomes a fan of Teddy. As a reward, Teddy receives extra food and water, and he is assigned to take care of the horses in the stable. Later that night, Teddy goes to the camp clinic to have his wounds bandaged. Even small rewards become priceless inside a place built on suffering. After his bandages are changed, Teddy nervously asks a nurse for medicine to treat pneumonia. The nurse is kind-hearted, so she secretly gives him several medications. Teddy quickly rushes to the infirmary, where many prisoners are barely hanging on. He gives the medicine to Janek, then quietly returns the remaining medication after the nurse notices it missing. Compassion quietly survives, where cruelty tries to erase every trace of it. Working in the stable also gives Teddy a little free time, so he begins training for boxing again. Every spare moment becomes another chance to stay ready for survival. A few weeks later, Janek finally recovers, and Teddy helps him get a job at the camp clinic. There, Janek meets a beautiful young woman named Helena, and the two quickly become close friends. Meanwhile, the better food and constant training make Teddy much stronger, but the rest of the prisoners continue to suffer. They are treated even worse than animals, and countless Jewish prisoners are shot every day for the smallest mistakes. others die slowly because they never first ever will suffer from the medicine they desperately need. Watching others suffer only strengthens Teddy's determination to help everyone. Because of that, Teddy does everything he can for the other prisoners. Every time he is put into a boxing match, he wins and shares all of his prized food with them. He also secretly steals essential medicine from the clinic and delivers it to the sick prisoners, hoping they will recover as quickly as possible. Every victory inside the ring becomes hope for someone outside of it. Then one day, German soldiers bring in a dangerous new fighter to face Teddy. Everyone believes Teddy will finally lose. Everyone believes Teddy's incredible speed and devastating punches. The tougher the challenger becomes, the stronger Teddy fights back. After this victory, Teddy receives even more food, but once again, he shares everything with the other prisoners. That night, several Jewish prisoners are rounded up and forced into a gas chamber. This time, Helena is among them after being caught stealing food. A German soldier presses a rifle against her head and orders her to take off her clothes. But without warning, Helena grabs the rifle and shoots him. One desperate act of courage changes everything in a single heartbeat. The other soldiers immediately open fire, killing Helena on the spot. Several innocent prisoners are also caught in the gunfire and die. Yannick witnesses the entire massacre with his own eyes, and Helena's death completely shatters him. During the chaos, the general is shot in the hand and goes to a camp clinic to have it treated. There, he sees Yannick working as a nurse without any formal medical training. Inside the camp, even the smallest mistake carries unimaginable consequences every time. Using that as an excuse, the general has Yannick arrested and subjects him to horrific abuse. The next day, when Teddy learns what happened, he begs the senior officer to release Yannick. Sometimes, the only weapon left is the courage to keep asking. But no one listens to Teddy's plea, and he refuses to give up. He makes the officers an offer. In exchange for Yannick's freedom, he is willing to fight Germany's greatest boxer, Hammerschlag. Teddy also tells them that if they refuse his offer, he will never fight another match again. After thinking it over, the officers finally agree, but they secretly come up with a plan to make sure Teddy cannot win. The deal sounds fair, but the outcome is already being manipulated. By evening, both fighters are ready to enter the ring. As soon as the match begins, Hammerschlag unleashes one crushing punch after another and quickly dominates the fight. Before long, he wins the opening round. But in the second round, Teddy fights back and lands a relentless series of powerful punches. The momentum changes the instant Teddy refuses to back down again. Seeing their fighter getting beaten, one of the officers signals the referee to call for a break. During the pause, they secretly give Teddy a special drink. What looks like ordinary water hides a dangerous trap waiting inside. The third round begins, and the drink quickly takes effect. Teddy's vision becomes blurry, and Hammerschlag seizes the opportunity to land a devastating punch that knocks him to the canvas. The German officers immediately declare Hammerschlag the winner, but only moments later, Teddy gets back to his feet and demands that the fight continue. The match is far from over, no matter what the officials claim. Instead, the soldiers drag Yannick into the ring and throw him down in front of Teddy. Yannick is covered in injuries. The officers order Teddy to fight him and warn that if he refuses, they will shoot Yannick immediately. Shots, the band of Saldar sets on the boots. Teddy hesitates because he cannot bear to hurt it anymore. One impossible decision becomes more painful than every punch before it. That single moment of hesitation is enough. A soldier brutally shoots Yannick in the head, killing him instantly. After that, they tie Teddy to a wooden post and leave him hanging there all night. The following morning, the soldiers finally cut him down. The night ends, but Teddy's deepest loss is only beginning. This time, instead of sending Teddy back to work, they send him to the cemetery where the bodies are being buried. With a heavy heart, he searches for Jannik's body, but the only thing he finds is one of Jannik's toys. Teddy picks it up and breaks down, mourning Jannik for a long time. Before long, his grief turns into determination, and he swears that he will defeat Hammerschlag. Grief slowly transforms into the strength Teddy needs to keep fighting. Driven by that promise, Teddy walks back into the boxing ring, where Hammerschlag is training alongside the other fighters. Teddy challenges him to another match in front of everyone, and Hammerschlag accepts. A warden from another camp is also there. He is the same man who captured Teddy years earlier. Knowing Teddy's ability, the warden believes no one can beat him and places a bet on Teddy. Some people recognize greatness even in the darkest places imaginable. The match begins, and Hammerschlag once again throws powerful punches, but Teddy avoids them with his incredible speed and footwork. By now, his face is completely covered in blood. Every drop of blood only fuels Teddy's determination to keep fighting. Even then, Teddy keeps smiling. The moment he sees an opening, he unleashes one crushing punch after another, completely overwhelming Hammerschlag. In the end, Teddy wins the fight, and prisoners all around the camp erupt into cheers, celebrating his victory. The entire camp witnesses the champion rise when hope seemed impossible. Impressed by Teddy's incredible skill, the warden from the other camp speaks with the general and has Teddy transferred to his camp. Even after that, Teddy continues competing in boxing matches for years. His greatest victory is surviving long enough to keep fighting forward. Years later, Allied forces liberate the camp and free Teddy. After returning home, he begins teaching boxing to young children. At last, Teddy uses his strength to build lives instead of saving one. Some people survive, but a part of them never leaves the nightmare. If stories like this stay with you long after they're over, subscribe to RAFSAT, because some wounds never heal and some end endings stay with you forever.